Well, it is that time again, everybody. Hope you are doing well. My name is BirdDog John, and I am back in action.
In those scenarios,
Yep.
it's good to neuralize the cameras. You guys know that best.
Very straightforward. Plug it in, go to the web UI, link the source, walk away. Like super simple. I keep looking over at the chat, and I keep seeing you are full of it. Tasty, spicy meat snacks. Covered in flavor. I mean, you can't go wrong. So what's going on? We've got a handful of folks here in the chat, and I really appreciate that. What's up, mate? Hey, Warren, how are you? Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? We're just talking about you. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Appreciate that. Feel like I'm in this video more than anyone but John. It's true, NetApp. You are, I'm going to cut this up and put this in the next intro. What's going on, everybody? I am indeed BirdDog John. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And in good fashion, my NDI teleprompter is not showing any NDI. So we will see if we can't fix that. Might require a power cycle, but basically I'm talking into a blank screen right now. Better jump over and first of all, listen to the show and see how that's coming along because, hey-oh, all right, that's good. Nice and loud. And I love that. All right, so I got audio there. Let me know how it sounds on your end. Hopefully all good. System settings. I'm going to reboot this teleprompter. You can do that from the web UI, by the way. TelScript web UI has reboot, reconnect button, so it like restart NDI basically, or reboot the whole unit itself. So that is always cool. So TelScript, there's the screensaver coming up now. I'm not having any, so far, I haven't had any indications from StreamYard that we're struggling with bandwidth like we were on Tuesday. And I think that was a StreamYard related issue, but time will tell, obviously, as to whether or not that's repeatable. Maybe it's like the changes in my network that I made earlier this week, but maybe not. So we'll find out. We will 100% find out. Hey, what's going on, Luca? Good morning. Hopefully it's good morning here, I guess. Hopefully you're doing well. Angus, welcome back. You were missing the other day, so welcome back. Now, my QR code, just give me a hot second here, because I believe that the form is off, but we will pull that up and enable that. Enable accepting responses. Give me a hot second, though. Okay, never mind, because it's not going to load on that, so let's do this locally. There we go. Accepting responses. Check. And view in pages, we're going to check out the latest and greatest. I'm going to throw that up here on the screen. Let you guys check in if you'd like. That QR code is basically just a way to check in on a heat map that I have going on. It looks like this. And if you were to answer the two questions anonymously, it will put a pin on the heat map, and we'll check this out during the show and see what's going on, where you guys are hailing from. So always fun to find out where you're from, and that kind of rhymed. And so here we go. And of course, Angus is up in Edmonton, so we know he's there as per usual. Good morning. I heard some interesting news. The Mackie DLZ creator has NDI audio out and in built in with new firmware update. First audio mixer that I've seen using NDI. Interesting. So this is something we should investigate because that is extremely interesting. So let's open up a new tab, and I'm just going to take this off the main screen. Actually, you know what? We could do that here. Why not? So let's do that real quick. So this is the Mackie. Did you say DLZ creator? There it is. And B&H musician's friend. Let's click on an ad and give somebody some money. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to go to the Mackie website, which is just a Google search. Oh, although it appears that that website is not wanting to load. I might be having DNS issues, so that's always fun. Let's jump back over to, whoops, I did not mean to open that. Let's jump back over to StreamYard. I don't see any lagging in terms of, yeah, why? That's what this site is. Doesn't want to load. That's weird. That's pretty weird. All right, well, maybe I will do this locally then. So let's go here. Oh, and of course now it loads. Probably DNS. It's always DNS, right? Hey, make it on your terms for $800. This is kind of loosey-goosey today. I don't know about that. The DLZ Creator Adaptive Digital Mixer for podcasting and streaming. Okay. So far so cool is what I was going to say. New firmware coming soon. We have a lot planned. Download firmware. Oh boy, DLZ supports dual PC setups via NDI. Well, there it is. So you can have two streaming machines and communicate with the mixer via NDI, it looks like. Well, that's pretty neat.
How neat is that?
The ins and outs of producing. I mean, it's about time, honestly. Because NDI audio is a thing. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
Good morning, Pandorica. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. No one here but us chickens. What's going on? Good day, John. Good day, Facebook user. Let's jump over there and find out. I'm going to address you by name if I... Ah, Brent. Of course it is. How are you? Welcome back. From Mackie site, firmware 11 adds NDI. Hey, that's pretty cool. I would agree. There's the website, everybody. Mackie.com/DLZ. But does it... Ooh, without it, I'm not interested. Why is that? It does have auto mix, but only up to 4 mics. It appears to just be stereo in and out, but it's cool that they've added the NIC port already on there. Made me wonder how easy it may have been. Will others now? I hope so. So, yeah. So, like they make NDI audio cards, which... I'm sorry. They make Dante audio cards, right? That you pop into like an X32 or like expansion cards for Personas. So that's what I'm thinking, right? Get a card, an NDI card, and do NDI audio in and out, where you could get 16 or 32 channels out just through NDI and route it out that way. That'd be really neat. I did make a change, by the way. I just looked down and realized this. I did make a change to my workflow in terms of how like cables are run. I bought these two little things, which I should have. I bought 4 of them, but I should have had them here. I'll unplug one so you can see. But they're 90-degree angle XLRs, and I always get a little nervous buying like XLR extension things like this. But essentially, I didn't like the fact that the cables were like laying across my workspace here, right? So what it is, I bought these 90 degrees, and they're actually interchangeable. So if I could show you this, they're actually interchangeable where you can spin the actual barrel around and the connection here, and you can customize it any configuration you want, and it turns by 90 degrees. So if you're in a tight space and you'd rather have like your cable up or off to the side or something like that, you could use something like this. It's just they're $10, and it's just a 90-degree angle. It's a very simple wire inside. You got to be kind of gentle with it. But now what I have is the ability to plug that in and have these cables basically up and out of the way and not laying on my desk. I think it cleans things up when you have a forward-facing audio interface, XLR jacks, forward-facing. It cleans it up, gets the cables off the desk, right? It kind of creates a little bit more of a solid workflow. I also need like another 3-foot extension for my in-ear headphones, because it's like a banjo string coming off the back of my shirt. But anyways, slight alteration to the workflow. But as you can see, my main X keys control now. So this camera is a bit off center. It really should be a little better. But the the X Keys controller is basically directly in front of my microphone. And so this is my primary how I control, what it is that I'm actually controlling the vMix machine is I can call things from here and toss them up and change sources and cut them over and do all that. So this is now vMix like primary engine in terms of cutting, and it's really helpful because I like the fact that I only need to execute 20 commands basically in vMix to get the show to do what it needs to do these days, and that is going through different camera shots, calling all that stuff really fast, but also I believe that I can push things into preview and program and operate it kind of as a one-man band. And once you get comfortable with it, then it really makes a big difference. So yeah, I really like the setup now. I rarely use the keyboard to do anything vMix. It's all mouse controlled and X keys. I'm working with a church down in Nashville, which I've talked about several times now, and we just got them a 64 button X keys, and I spent the last weekend programming it, and then I ran the production on Sunday with it, and they have a new Blackmagic ATEM Constellation ME2, and the system, it was great. It worked so well. So question for you, interweb people. Would an X Keys device work over Google Chrome Remote? So if I were to plug in one into my computer on this side with that programming, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how I ended up programming that X Keys, because I went a little, I won't say unconventional, but I found what I think the most convenient way to do it was. But by the way, my TelScript never came up. I don't know what's going on here with that. But my best efforts to get the TelScript to work have failed. So now we're going to try this again. And this is just like basic troubleshooting, everybody. This is a part of running a production. So pretty sure this is related to... Yep, there it is. So this is related to... Oh, that's interesting. The way that my network is configured. It's all on the Studio VLAN. So VLAN 77 is what I reference. That's my VLAN for this studio space and for everything that I do on this show. And it's me practicing what I preach, because I talk about isolating NDI on its own VLAN and then having your data internet network on a different NIC connection. So that is genuinely what we're doing here now. I have fiber connections into here. Well, that all changed over, and it appears that when I rebooted the system for the TelScript, it cleared all of my presets. And so I just put the 200 back in. It came right up right away, and so we're good there. Okay, so back to the conversation at hand about X keys. Would the X keys commands travel over the Google remote space? So if they had one and I had one and I was executing commands from a remote, would that work? If it did, that would be very slick. So I guess I'm going to have to test it at some point. The other thing that I want to, I'll wrap up that whole installation conversation, because I kind of like working through what I did last weekend. And truthfully, on Tuesday, I was extremely tired. And so I had no way of contemplating and walking you through exactly what it is that we were up to. But we were programming the X keys, and I was looking through, okay, what's the best way to do macros with this thing? And it turns out that to use the X keys with the Constellation, the easiest way that I have found is to use Companion. And lo and behold, the X keys device will natively integrate with Companion, and you literally just you count up the buttons. So button 1 in this scenario, let me put the overhead back up here. Is it this one? Yeah. So button 1 is actually like which is it? It's like this, I believe. So button 1 is here. So 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. And you guys that are familiar with Companion shows the Stream Deck interface, but they're numbered that way, right? So 1.1, 1.2, and they go through the pages. Well, you just use that as your template. So this is button 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and you just do the Constellation presets and drag them into there and then customize them as you want. It was so slick that the X Keys has been integrated to behave that way. So you discover the X Keys device over USB and then you can integrate it. It worked flawlessly. Like, I actually can say that. I was so surprised, but I'm not surprised with the X Keys portion. I expected that to work flawlessly because I've had very great interactions with that. Same thing with Stream Deck. There is a Stream Deck here, by the way, but I'm using that for sound effects these days.
Good news, everyone!
As a quick way to pull up, sound bites that we've been using for a long time. So I use the Stream Deck. This is actually my own personal one, but I use the Stream Deck, but it's mostly a soundboard now, and I use the X Keys to really call the different commands that I want to use. So the integration with X Keys and Companion, I can give thumbs up, especially when you're using when you're not using things that are natively talking to X Keys like vMix. So vMix, you can program the X Keys as to like shortcuts, and that's what this is. That's this current configuration. Now, my temptation is to delete that and to start over with this with Companion. Because if Companion, now what I don't know, and what we can find out right now, is does Companion talk with, whoops, that's not Companion. Does Companion talk with vMix? So I'm going to open this on my streaming computer because I know that Companion's installed over there, but it won't interfere with my X Keys that's on this computer. So the question is, does Companion talk natively with, okay, choose an interface, 77, launch it. All right, now, can I share this business with you guys? Yes, I can. Okay, so we're going to go back to the screen share. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's go here. And I'm going to present, share screen, BitFocus Companion, share, and then I want to go live with that. Okay, so here is BitFocus Companion that I'm running just locally. So the question is vMix on this list? It totally is. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh boy. So it is here. Oh man. This is very interesting to me. Target host should not be local. It should be, what is my IP address here? Sorry guys, I'm totally ignoring the chat. I will be with you in a moment. I'm finding this out. You're watching me kind of discover this natively. 7716 192.168 77.16. Enable logs. All right, if I save this, is this the right TCP port, or should I do 8080? I turn this off and back on again. Initializing. Error. What is the error? Connection. Does it give me a log? Does it tell me? You know what? Let's start over and deleted. Oh, it says connecting. No, error. So maybe it's not 16 or what is my? I have two NIC cards on here. 16 and 17. So if we go back to vMix, and you guys are probably screaming at me the answers that I'm butchering here. So 192.168.77.16. And I'm just going to leave this stuff. Log connection errors, default enabled. Disabling this can help with clutter in the log when vMix is closed. Okay, so we're still getting an error. So instant wrapper socket error. Wait, I changed the IP range. All right, clear the log. Let's start getting... Oh, it didn't change it. Connections? Error? Huh? All right. I'm going to come back to the chat because you guys are probably screaming at me as to what it is that I'm doing wrong and painfully watching me butcher this. So, Dan Duggan created an exceptionally good automatic mic mixing algorithm. It's the ultimate panel discussion tool. You end up with some total system gain. You end up with the same total system gain as if you only had one mic open, no matter how many mics are open at once. Whoever speaks, their mic opens. It sounds almost perfectly transparent. Dude, where can I find this? I'm very interested in this. Hey, the cable display was behind your picture-in-picture, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry. The cable display? Cable display. What did I do? Okay, sorry. So I've been something of an X keys pusher. A friend of mine saw my 24 in June and immediately bought one, and then he bought a 120 bar. It's now convinced someone else to buy a 124. Oh man, aren't they cool? I totally want. I totally do want the 80, but it's because I am envious of Tom Sinclair, the goat of NDI streaming, of the NDI streaming world. Tom Sinclair from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. You need to check him out. He is so cool. And I love Tom. He's such a great asset to our industry that, yeah, you need to learn about Tom. It's really, really solid guy. Did you see that Blackmagic just added SRT to their encoder decoders? I did see that. Yes, they did. Other way around. Cable to the left. Have you tried the touch portal? I have not. I'm always game to. Have I tried touch portal? Macro control for PC. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Works with OBS, Streamlabs, and a few items I don't recognize. Oh, here. Integrated services for Twitch, sound effects, Photoshop. Key press simulation, which is basically what we're doing here. Control software for vMix. There it is. YouTube. MS Teams. There you go. Okay, so let me keep looking at the chat real quick because I find Companion way easier to program for vMix versus shortcuts. So, okay, hold that thought. I'm going to star that because I want to come back to that. Yes, it does, and it works very well with vMix. Yes, didn't work well for me. It's been a while since I tried. The APC40 MK2 is my tool for vMix. Typo. Behringer XR and X32 mixers have it, as do many Yamaha and Allen and Heath boards. Interesting. I run an X32 at my Nashville gig. I'm gonna check that out. Anyway, okay, yeah, good stuff. I find Companion way easier to program than vMix versus shortcuts. Okay, so I had this experience because I had this experience and I was shocked. I already had a companion experience, all right, like working with Stream Deck and whatever. But I started programming the ATEM with it, and we were coming off of an ATEM video switcher, like the actual board, like the black board that they have, that has a giant waste of buttons. I'm just gonna say it. All right, hot take. Blackmagic, if you're watching, which I know you don't because you have bigger fish to fry in this world. Video switcher. So, shots fired. The group that I was with was using the studio. That's what they were using. Oh, I'm sorry, not the studio. Dang it, I clicked on the wrong button. This thing. ATEM Television Studio. Oh, I was right. Why is everything called studio? Pretty much. Maybe it wasn't this model. I think maybe they had the model prior to this. And anyway, similar. Let me show this, share this tab. So this thing is basically what they were running. But there are, oh, it wasn't this though because it didn't have these dials. But there were like all these buttons, all this stuff that basically is like a one use during setup button, and then it's not useful after that. And this is definitely not the one that I thought it was. And I don't understand why you would do that, because it seems wasteful to broadcast panel. They didn't have, I'm pretty sure maybe Blackmagic has discontinued the one that we were using. I don't know the names very well. Oh. However, they did pick up a constellation, and this is all the brains and no interface essentially, but you can use ATEM, this thing. This is what they bought. So it's all the brains but no interface, and that's fine. But look at all these SDI inputs. There's so many, and there's a ton of outputs too. There's a dozen outputs plus 2 multi-viewer outputs, so there's technically 14. But yeah, it was really cool. And I started programming that constellation through Companion for an X keys, and it worked amazingly well. In terms of once I figured out the mapping, we did get the 64 button X keys, which is on the 80 panel, but it has basically some of them like deleted, some of the buttons deleted, and that caused some confusion in terms of it caused some confusion about where the mapping was, but that was a minor detail. Once you figure it out, then it's a little more obvious. But I definitely, do I need to like restart this connection? Is that what I need to do? Because it keeps saying, oh, there's no vmix local. There's no vmix local. So if I restart and I go to the log and I watch this thing, will it finally come up with the correct IP address for vmix? Because let's clear it and wait. We shall wait and see. Oh. Ooh. We got a green checkbox. That's fancy pants. All right. So let's program. Let's wipe this page. Bam. And let's start monkeying around with vmix. So vmix, and we're going to, well, let's look and see what we have here. Outputs. Okay, that's mildly confusing. Transitions. Okay, so we could do something like this. Let's do some classics here. So fade and cut. And if we open the emulator and we say fade. That's hilarious because this is open, but that actually worked. So on that emulator, I click cut, And I'm sorry, on the emulator, I click cut, and it actually is working. Okay, so I have confirmed then that I will be probably reprogramming my X keys through this because I want to. That's all working. That's so stinking cool. Yeah, that's stinking cool. All right. Man. Learn stuff all the time. All right. On the X32, you activate it per channel with the X and Y buttons, and then you turn it on the actual auto mixer with the main XY buttons. Okay. Yeah, the ATEM Extreme is handy, but the buttons are just ridiculous. So, yeah, it seemed to me like when I was using that switcher, it all was mapped out. Like, it made logical sense. And I find it very like a clean setup, which is nice. Nice bright lights and everything is very obvious. However, most of the buttons on the board were a one-time use thing. You wouldn't use them in the production all the time, which seems to be a waste. There should be, you could tidy it up with submenus and, you know, arrows and stuff and make it a really clean surface. But there's just a lot of bulk in terms of small, tiny buttons, physical buttons that will eventually fail over time. And that seems weird to me. One mark in favor of lots of buttons for setup. Some of us move our stuff around on a daily basis. Oh, fair enough. Constellation is very high on my list of would like to buy. It's actually not that expensive either. Like in the grand scheme of things and what it does, it's not really that expensive. So, and along with said 124 T-bar. Good morning from Vancouver Island. Good morning, Vancouver Island. How are you, Laura? Hi, can you please show us how to monitor multicast on a 4250? Did you ask this question online? I think in the NDI group. That sounds very familiar to the NDI group, that's for sure. I have to remember, so a lot of stuff has changed here because I have changed my network around a fair bit, and you know how that's all kind of work, how the setup is actually working inside of my studio now, because I've basically changed a lot of changed the brains of the whole network, because we had to basically get native Wi-Fi, and I wanted good Wi-Fi coverage. So let me tidy things up here and see what I can show you. What is it particularly, like, what is it that you want to monitor? You just want to like see the multicast packets flowing? Because the better way to do that would be to use something like Wireshark, which would, do I have Wireshark on this machine? Probably not. No. Do I have Wireshark on this other machine that I think I do? Wireshark, there it is. So there's a new version. Remind me later. All right. Let's see what I can do here about presenting maybe a window. Oh, maybe I can do this. That's pretty neat. So present. Let's see if they'll let me do this. Share screen. Share window. And now. All right, so share this. Then how does this look? Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, cool. So yeah, we can actually watch multicast packets through something like Wireshark, which this might jack with my network performance, by the way. But anyways, it's basically just a sniffing protocol. But what you want to do is you want to select your NDI network, the one that you have that you're running, so your NDI 5 profile that's running multicast, and when you switch over your devices to multicast. one of the clear indications that this is in multicast is because all of my stuff is running UDP. And so when you pull open these ports, you can see, the protocol is UDP. And I either run TCP unicast or multicast. Those are the options. And so things will come back as UDP if you're running in multicast, because that's how the packet is sent. It is an actual UDP protocol. It's not a unicast protocol, it's a multicast protocol, but they are sent as UDP. So we can pull up the packet. We can kind of look through some of this stuff that will allow you to get down to kind of a granular level. But if you want to see just real-time data flowing over the network, this is a pretty easy way to do that, to actually see those multicast packets. Now, the broadcast packets will appear as a different style of packet. I need to... Oh, we don't have any of that listed there. I forget, what is the filter command? Protocol. Is there actually a... shoot, what's it? What is the actual... Let me open the... Sorry. Now you've got me like forging for information here. 6.8. Oh, shoot. That's going to be this machine. Let's say... There we go. Okay, so we've got a camera here. Oh, this one's running a TCP. Dun, 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 dun. 77, let's find... You know what? Well, anyways, yeah. I can demonstrate. We've done a Wireshark demonstration before in the past. That might be helpful. Why is... This 200 is sitting in... Oh, my gosh. We may have changed this over for a test this week. I didn't realize. Didn't realize that this camera, the main camera, is still functioning in TCP, which is interesting. Which would show up, by the way, on this list if we were to sort by protocol. But I don't see any in here. Let's change that network protocol. This is camera 77.12. And we're going to go over to, I guess you guys can't see this. You're still watching Wireshark. I just want to change this protocol from TCP to multicast and apply. All right. And then I'm going to restart. So I'm going to freeze here for a hot second. Hopefully this doesn't do too much. My video will be frozen. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, so this is BirdDog Studio 77.12. I'm going to pull up in Wireshark. And I'm going to say IP address. Whoops. I'm going to filter by. Okay. Come on. What is going on here, Wireshark? Maybe you're getting... Oh, you're just seized up altogether. Cool. So it's running, but it's not letting me do anything. All right, close. Close. Come on, Wireshark. You can do it. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to kill this thing. Hey, this is real life, guys. So we're going to open up. We're going to end task. Boom. All right, let's try that again. So, Wireshark. All right, and then I want to share screen. I want to share the window. I want to share Wireshark. Here we go. All right, so back to the NDI network, and we're just going to stop this real quick because I don't want it to get too overloaded. Okay, so IP address equals, and I'm just going to change this to 77.12, and I'm going to hit enter there. And then I'm going to start this, continue without saving. So the protocol is still showing as TCP, so I may need to actually reboot this whole unit because restarting the video did not allegedly. So now I'm going to switch over to camera 2, and I'm going to hit reboot device on the P200. which is now frozen, I will continue to show. Here we go. So I'll continue to show this. Let's see what it comes back doing. So yes, I did ask that question in the 4250 group, but I didn't get an answer. Multicast packets will have a destination address starting with 224 and 239 instead of 192 or 10 or whatever your range is. And then, okay, so this makes more sense to check it with Wireshark then. Oh, absolutely. Mostly because Wireshark is a little bit more, versatile with this. Okay, so here we go. So 224 is now the destination for these multicast packets, and I can cut back to, oh, nuts. I cut back to this one. This is now running in multicast. And that's this camera. So that's what's going on there. We're kind of watching the 77.12 source, and we can see that it's headed across to a multicast it's behaving in multicast, so the destination is going to be 224. So that's how you can actually see the traffic happening on there. But Wireshark is a better option than trying to monitor it through. You can do it through the 4250. I think you do it through the web interface side of things, but this is kind of more like you can do this for any device that's operating on any of the networks and find out what the state is. So when you switch it over, I have the NDI 5 profile running as the Studio VLAN, Studio 77 basically. So VLAN 77 is operating in a multicast mode, and so when I switch it over and I start watching that in Wireshark, I can see those multicast packets going across. So there you go. That's the easier way to do it, to confirm that those packets are actually going across. Gonna go here for a hot second here. So there's a comment here. I'm just looking to see if I missed a post that if Miley actually made a full-on post about it. I just see he commented out. But I don't see an actual post. So the question here, I just want to be sure. I saw the comment. Where is it here? I'm happy to see Dan's comments read the X120 firmware and hardware on Facebook group. Yeah, so the comment that he made there was firmware's done. There's manufacturing stuff that's going on right now, and they're trying to get them built. So it is real. We could put it that way. But yeah, that was basically his update the other day. It doesn't look like your computer is getting all the packets from that camera, only the MDNS. You may need to turn on the port mirroring for that port switch. Yeah, no, so I wasn't using Wireshark on this machine, which is receiving the full-on source. I guess I could open Studio Monitor over there, and then we would see that. But technically, the P200 image is not being sent to the computer where Wireshark. It was just getting the MDNS stuff. But if we open it and then run Wireshark, let's start that again. Continue without saving. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, there we go. I've tried to pull up the camera, but the two different cards are causing issues. We're just getting ACK packets right. Oh, interesting. What's going on here? Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. Let's stop this. Say Access Manager. Yeesh. Multicast. Yep. It's strange because not so with that little streaming machine that I had, that little, you know, NUC computer that I was using vMix on before I switched over to the Stream Dudes. It doesn't navigate the two networks great, the two VLANs great, but the Stream Dudes machine is configured and works wonderful. So it's probably something to do with the brain power of that actual computer. But all of the studio cameras that are on my VLAN don't appear to be. Oh, that's strange. But this one came up just fine. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is here. Let's try this P110 camera that's off to my side that you guys were looking at. Let's get into that, because all of this stuff should be operating in multicast. Yoink. Done, done, done. And reboot. All right. More on that later. Back to the chat, because I'm pretty sure I have missed some stuff here. So yeah, Dan's announcement with the X120 wasn't really an announcement. It was just more of an update. But he would be the guy to do it because he's kind of at the coalface of all of those conversations with the engineers. And so that is helpful, I think, that he put that up there. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Oh yeah, today's show is again not brought to you by Stanley Mugs. Yeah, I don't know. This is a massive cup of coffee, which I've been drinking. It's bigger than my head, and I've been drinking it all morning. It's been great. You know it's bad that if I am tired and I've been drinking coffee in this quantity, that then I definitely have been pretty sleepy. Okay, so my 110 is back, although it's frozen on my multi-viewer, which is fun. The 110 is back. Let's go over to Wireshark and see what we can come up with now. And was this 11? Is that what this was? Of course not. I can't remember. Yes, it was 11. So studio, we're going to restart studio monitor. Cam. And now it won't see it. That's fun. That's fun, everybody. I suspect that I need to probably prioritize the 77 network on this machine in order to get those sources to show up, because Studio Monitor is able to query that subnet, but it's not able to actually pull those feeds. It's interesting. Very interesting. It's good coffee. Your audio seems out by like a few frames this morning on YouTube. Not back, but out. Really? Well, let's watch YouTube and find out. Not back, but out. Really? Well, let's watch YouTube and find out. I am not detecting. This is over Wi-Fi or something like that. But we had some synchronization comments the other day too, where people were noticing like on one platform it was out of sync, but on another it was not. Somebody was watching like on their TV and saying it was out of sync, but on their phone it was synced. Yep. Well, this is a remote, so that may not be a great test. Let me pull it up locally here and see what we have, because it does look like it's out on YouTube. What do you guys see? Tell me, the rest of you, tell me what you guys are seeing, because I can adjust it. That's no issue. That also reminds me, I noticed the other day that my settings in StreamYard, my audio settings, were back to echo cancellation and automatically adjust mic volume. And I noticed it when I was playing music and it sounded like it was underwater. So, whoa, look at all these dots. My goodness. Well, I don't need to say it.
That's pretty neat.
Thanks for checking in, everybody. That's from a quick little survey on that QR code that's in the top corner. Basically just saying, what country are you in? What's the closest city? It'll put a pin wherever you're at. So it looks like the East Coast here in the U.S. is underrepresented, but we have a lot of folks in the central and western side of the states, plus somebody in Australia, somebody in South Africa, and of course, somebody in Europe. So North America is in time zone, so that makes sense. But Happy Camper says it is out. Interesting. It's right from the page on my computer. It's only a few frames. I've been editing, so it's bugging me. Well, we can adjust that. That is something we can adjust. So let's go to audio. And let's just experiment briefly with it. I'll pull it up on YouTube as well, and that way I can hear it, I think. Cancel desktop in my headphones. Shout out to CJ. And that's not playing. Fantastic. Which speakers is this? Outs 1 through 4. No. What I want that to be is for... Nope. Nope. This is really annoying. All right. Well, what's strange is, and it may just be that my phone is super tiny, so I'm not detecting the change, but we can adjust this. Settings, audio, and we're going to adjust it. It wants me to adjust it by milliseconds. So what's your best estimation, folks? What do you want me to, how many milliseconds do you think it's off by? We'll take a guess. Whoops. So we're running 60p. And so that would be 16.6 repeated milliseconds. So if you're thinking that it's off by 1 or 2, we say 17 milliseconds and hit OK. Restart vMix. That's really annoying. I shouldn't have to restart vMix. What are you, a Windows program? Come on. Well, that's now that's going to bug me that it's out of sync like that. Try like 2. Can you put up a clock? Can I put up a clock? No. I don't have that resource at my disposal. My takeaway from Dan's comment was firmware's complete, awaiting final loading on the first batch of cameras, which are also built, and also that shipping was from Hong Kong. So thumbs up for shipping to Australia. Yes, that is the messaging I'm hearing. Like I said, I know that they were talking with manufacturing, but that could also be applying the latest firmware at the factory to the units that are built. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm going to jump back to my studio real quick. I love that I have figured out how to jump around between multiple machines on my... Oh, that's weird. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you freaking out? You shouldn't be freaking out. Yeah, so I'm able to like jump around between multiple machines and control them locally, all from like my production suite right here. And I can monitor the show and see how things are going. And where are we? 110. Yeah, okay. Wow. So when I changed it to multicast, Multiviewer did not like that. Interesting. It dropped that source. I may have to restart computers to get that to work correctly. Let me go back to the other computer. Okay, now I'm back to StreamYard. Don't worry about it. It's just the start of your word, but most of it is very slight. Most people don't care about that. You know what? I haven't adjusted it since I moved over to this new computer, so there's a good chance that it's been off this whole time. I can't imagine loading new firmware on an entire manufacturing run of cameras after they've been put in their boxes. That happens way more often than you think it does. So they have a system in place to do that. It is a lot of labor, but it's necessary for out-of-box experience to be acceptable. But that's a real thing. And something quite common. It does sound like an organizational nightmare, but it is definitely common. So Where's Fleet Manager when you need it? You need to ask Tom from Eastern Shore Broadcasting or Streaming Idiots how to put a clock on the screen. Yes, I do. So Tom is the reason why I use vMix now. And he rightfully advocated that I was not being fair to the vMix platform in my original disgust for it. And he was right. I definitely should not have overlooked it just based on my a sour taste. And, you know, that kind of goes for a lot of things in the industry. Just because you had a difficult time with one product doesn't mean that the whole institution it needs to burn to the ground. So, yeah, that's real. And vMix has a lot of options. Now, I use, for the starting screen, I use a clock there, which is known as SNAS. I use 1.12.7.0. And SNAS is basically the ability to put a clock on the screen. So if I wanted to have a clock, you know, that would, show us, you know, the time from to 12:30, I can start that clock and then show the actual start screen in it's basically just a background. But I'll cut over to this. As you can hear, all the stuff starts, including muting my microphone. So there's a bunch of automation stuff that happens there when we go to the start screen, and it does basically like a checkup at the beginning of every show, including muting my microphone. But it starts that when I open SNAS, it just opens and starts running. And if I leave it set to 11 o'clock Eastern time, and I log in sometime in the 10 o'clock hour, it's already up and running and counting down. So I can just push the start screen and the countdown, the timer's already going. If I need to make changes, I can just do that quickly inside of the actual program, which is what you just witnessed. And the only thing I don't like about it is that it complains a lot when you have an invalid time. So when it's 11:05 and you click on start and you clicked on start when it's at 11, then it throws an error message, and that's kind of annoying. I know that 11 o'clock has passed. I'm obviously doing that setting up for Tuesday's show. So anyways, potato, and a lot of that stuff. Good morning, John. What's going on? Tash, welcome. Is it possible to have too many IP addresses in Access Manager? That's something I haven't tested. I haven't gone to the extreme of how many can this thing actually handle. I don't think it's possible. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but it wouldn't logically make sense in my brain because all Access Manager is doing is editing the library. And so natively, NDI search happens mostly through a Bonjour protocol, but it happens on the subnet, right? On your specific subnet. So if you're adding external IP addresses inside Access Manager, all you're doing is adding a text file, a text list inside Access Manager to say, do your regular check and then also ping these other IP addresses. And I've never heard of it having a timeout. Now, maybe it does. Maybe there's like a limit on you can only have 300 addresses or something like that. But I don't think so because it's not that sophisticated. It's just check the local subnet and also these IP addresses. That's all it's doing. You're just editing, which is why when you make changes in Access Manager, you have to hit OK in order for them to apply because it writes the file. When you hit OK, it applies it to the actual NDI library, and then that information is customized for your particular install. So I don't think it's going to have an issue. It should, and I don't think, honestly, that there should be a logical ceiling to what it is that how many you can have. So there you go. Don't forget, folks, birddogjohn.tv is my homepage. It's over on YouTube, and that's everything I do here on this show is live streamed there or posted there. So anytime we do something, some content, it will for sure go there and possibly other outlets as well. But it's always helpful to have you subscribe at birddogjohn.tv so I can show my bosses that people are paying attention. People are joining in the conversation. And if I go over there today, we are at 324 subscribers, and that is way more than I've ever had. I think that rivals Twitch in my heyday on Twitch. I think that is just as many subscribers on Twitch as I had, just as many on YouTube as I had on Twitch. So there you go. Things are moving in a positive direction. I've seen Tom put a clock on screen with milliseconds. Sorry, don't use vMix myself yet, so I'm not criticizing, but just that it can be done. I'm sure it can, and we could maybe monkey around in there and add a layer. So let's add let's just play with this. So I'm going to go to overlays. I'm going to add an input. I'm going to look for something that resembles video. Whoa, that's cool. Oh, interesting. Sequencer, imager. It may be a title, right? Or like, yeah, he might be using a title to do something like that. So let's see if they're, timer. There are timers in here. Timer. In the middle, let's do this one. Say yes. Ew, that color is Bojank, so I don't want that. Images, colors. And if I start this, seconds, and is there a way to do milliseconds? No, that's minutes. What is the abbreviation for milliseconds? Just trying to think. Or maybe that's, oh, here, display format. It doesn't look like this timer will do it. So he's probably not doing it this way because this doesn't include milliseconds. Sorry, I know you guys can't see what I'm up to over here. Let's add input again. Let's go and see if we have any other options. Again, I suspect that it's a timer. GT text, vertical, legacy, all. If we say all and I say timer, does it give me that? Ticker, scoreboard, socials, text, timer, verticals. Okay, so I'll jump into the chat. You guys, again, you're probably screaming at me to. NNN is usually Melissa. That's interesting. Namaste from India. What's going on, Go Web? Welcome back. The clock, you can set a format to include minutes, seconds, milliseconds with varying precision. Yeah, that's also the key, right? Is it's a software-based timer. It's not like a full-on precision timer or something. It's just more general. But if we can use the milliseconds option, no, does not like that formatting. So if we were to settings, display format, nuts. What do we think this is? Data sources. What is this clock? Ticker settings. Nope, that does nothing. Crap. Yeah, I'm clearly missing something here in terms of, all right, let's close this and try a different one. Input. Now, here's an interesting idea. Perhaps I can use SNAS for this. I'm pretty sure I could, actually. So I'm going to open that, and I'm going to say chrono, time up, and I want use a custom format. You think it's N? Like, if I were to start this, N is not coming back as an appropriate format. Doesn't mean it's that's not right, by the way. Hours, minutes, seconds, days, hours, minutes, seconds. That's annoying that it should have milliseconds on here, should it not? Wondering. Because that would be fun to put in that would be fun to put in the countdown too, to have milliseconds showing, but it doesn't look like even SNAS will do it. Use double digits. Who dat? Somebody's talking in the lobby. It's just a regular clock, not timers or fancy tracking things. Google says FFF. All right, Google. Let's try Google. That's funny to say. Sorry, I'm 7. All right, so let's go. Let's try titles again. Just a regular clock, right? Which is this. I guess this is technically a timer, not a clock. But if we say okay. Oh! Yo! That worked! Oh, this is cool. And you can add as many as you want. Yes! That's awesome. Okay, so my only complaint is it's yellow. Blech. And let's see, colors. This works, everybody. This works. So if I want to change the color because that's like pretty much vomit. And the other thing I want is, this is a title. So could I add this as, yes, I could. Oh, that's hilarious and ugly. All right, so now what we need to do is format this Mamma Jamma so that it shows up like I want it to show up. So can I edit this? Let's title editor, formatting. I want this to be at the bottom. Like I want to justify it, right? Settings? No. Color, images, whatever. Boy, that color is. Oh, there we go. Hey, I can change the color. So let's do maybe more of a friendly bird dog green and say cool. And okay, that's working. The question I have is, which bear is best? All right, here we go. I'm going to change the position by the main position, we're going to make this a little smaller because it's a little of a doozy. And I'm going to put it down here at the bottom of my screen. Fantastic. And now when I hit overlay 3, that's fun stuff, man. That's fun stuff. I love it. There is my green bird dog millisecond down to the 4, 5, 6, 7th power, 6th power. So yeah, shout out to all of you in the chat. Can we see what you see? No. Only I will know. Oh, my can't put this at the bottom because the chat is definitely covering it up. But there you go. So yes, I will share now my revelation that I have been having. So let's go. Let me just think about how I want to present this. I guess I'll put this on this screen. This is going to do like a weird picture in picture, so just bear with me. All right, so I've got this thing set up basically to where we can put the, oh, that's strange. All right, so I'm using it as overlay 3, right? But what I did was I went to actual overlays and I added this overlay here, which was this title under timers and this really ugly yellow one. Okay, and I hit OK and it added this timer. Then what I did was inside the editor, this is what I added. Okay, thanks to Facebook user. They said try F, and when I added that, oh shoot, sorry, I gotta turn the playlist off. When I added that, then it started changing the timer to show more of the like precision timing. Now again, software based, so it's not gospel, but I was able to change the color here by double clicking on this. I was thinking single click because that's what it is in the Windows world, but apparently this isn't following convention, and so you have to double click it. You can change the color there, and then you can just list the timeout as you want. So here I have hours, minutes, seconds, and then now these milliseconds. And then when I hit, I close this out, and I select that. Then where I go there is I say settings. And that opens up this screen. And then I say main because it's the main source. And then I adjust the pan how I want it. And I zoomed it down a bit because it was a little bit too big. me see if I can put that on full screen. There you go. So now you can put this wherever you'd like. I mean, maybe I should put it over the chat or above where the chat bar is going to be. So that would probably be about here. So if I add a chat now, Google says use F like that. And then if I fire overlay 3 onto the main screen, yeah, that would be above it. Let's put a bigger one up there. So yeah, that the time code is now above where that is. And so now when you fire overlay 3, this overlay gets pushed onto the main. You can also, by the way, if you right click on overlay 3, it will only show it in the preview. So let's set this up again. I'm going to put camera 1 in preview, but if I right click on that, it will put it in the preview. And if I left click on 3, it will put it on the main. So I can stop that one, left click, and there, now it's on the main output. So that's
pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. I do agree. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to bring this back here. I'm going to bring this back here. And hey, don't forget to scan the little QR code to see a 2-question survey. What country and what city are you closest to? If you fill those out, then you will appear on my heat map, which is currently filling out nicely. So yeah, if I put the playlist back on and then I hit overlay 3, which I don't have a button programmed for right now, that shows it there now on the screen, which is fine. And if I just wanted to use it as a reference, that's cool. The most recent one, wow, Facebook is delayed almost 20 seconds for me. Wow, that is a long time. That's twice the length of YouTube, I believe. I took a screenshot and able to see all of the numbers clearly. Wow. Interesting. Really? Let's play that game. So I'm going to open up what's it called? Snipping tool? Snipping tool, new. It when I hit new, it stopped all of those numbers dead on. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. I
How neat is that?
I mean, man, I learn something all the time when I hang out with you guys. We should do this more often. Absolutely. Because yes, go web. I can also see all the numbers clearly. Amazing. So stinking cool. No blurring, no none of that. All the numbers are captured cleanly, which is saying something. Maybe it's more precise than I'm leading on, that I'm assuming it is, but this Stanley mug has one of the most serious lids I've ever seen in my life on a mug, where this latch on the top is removable, but you can squeeze it together and it like snaps into place. It also, however, collects a lot of grime when you don't remove it when you wash the mug. So I have to remember to do that because it definitely collects a lot of it. But I was given this as a birthday gift, and it is I have another thermos that I use exclusively for water, and it keeps ice for like a day in it. But this one is nice and thin. The other one's like quite thick, like it's thicker, so I can use it at home pretty easily. This one's nice and thin though, which I can bring in the truck, and it's not like always bumping into everything. So I'm using this one in the mornings, and it holds like half a pot of coffee. And so that keeps me chipper. That's for sure. Anyway, I don't know if I answered this correctly, but was pleasantly surprised how intuitive Companion was when I was programming an X-Keys 64, an X-Keys device to control the constellation, and it was great. I really liked it, and I had a really good experience with it, and very happy the way that worked out. So then I thought maybe I should redo my X keys with Companion on the Stream Dudes machine. Because I actually like it better than I like the MacroWorks, but just because there are so many modules that you're not restricted to using one program or using a global list, you can mix and match. And so on Tuesday, I'm going to delete my X keys shortcuts that are pertaining to my X keys device in vMix, and we're going to wire it up inside Companion natively, and you can watch me do it live right here on birddogjohn.tv. And I will try and utilize this, and I might change my other screen to share what I'm doing in Companion, or like maybe I should do like a side-by-side. What do you think? So I could do, I like a do da cha-cha. If we were to say new input, but put it under cameras, new input, and we're going to say just basically a blank input, right? How do we do this? Virtual input, is that what it is? Cancel this. New input, blank. Okay, cool. So you can, inside vMix, you can actually, maybe I'll share my screen again. So yeah. So here you can insert, I clicked on my camera tab, and then I went like this, insert blank. And then opening the settings for this guy now, we can, oh no, Windows, stop. I hate it that it does that. Now we can say layers, and I can do side by side, and I can say layer 1, I want this to be my P200, which is down here, and layer 2, I want this to be, oh, you know what? I'm totally doing this. I want this to be my overhead so you can see what I'm doing. And then here, I want this to be my desktop. Whoops, not VLC music. I want this to be my desktop so that you can see all of that happening at once, right? You guys following along? And then for my fourth angle, I don't know. I guess I don't need it, but we'll do the P100. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. So now I can close this down and select this source and push it over so you can see that. Oh, it brought over that as well. So now when I'm working inside of vMix, which I just want to see what this looks like. Okay. So now you can see a whole bunch of stuff going on here, right? But if I were programming Companion on the desktop, which is that screen right there, then you guys could follow along with what I'm doing. But you could also see, as I'm testing the buttons, you could see this here, and then there's 2 camera angles that you can watch me talk about. So yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Perhaps we'll do something with that. Who's coming to BI 2023 this year? Last year, Jason was here. So if BirdDog's going, Jason will probably be there. There might be another guy named JM who recently started with us, and he's a really great resource. Really sharp guy that I've, from my interactions with him, super sharp. So JM might be there, and he would be a great resource to kind of learn who he is. But then I don't know if anybody else from the Europe sector is coming. Phil might, if they wanted him there, he'd probably go, but I don't know. Yeah, I started with blank is how I build most of my picture-in-pictures. Makes it much easier for building multiple versions without resorting to sketchy virtual inputs. So many picture-in-pictures. Yeah, it certainly wasn't clean, right? And maybe, oh, that's an interesting idea. So the idea is that perhaps you have your inputs, but you don't, like, so right now I use the P200 input as the image that you're seeing, right? And when we switch over to the next camera in about a minute, that's also an input. That's a P100 or the P110 or P4K. And those are just inputs. And what I've done with the overhead, for example, is I've added a layer. I've added the P200 image to the overhead shot. This one. Oh, I'm sorry, this one. So I'm down here in the corner. You can still see the P200 image, but you can see what I'm doing in front of me as well, right? But this is a source. This is a P100 camera with the 200 on the overlay. What I should do is bring in all my inputs and just leave them in cameras and then build my shots. That's a great idea. And then build my shots as blanks using those sources and then calling those. Yeah, that's what I should do. Because then it gives you the ability to have clean input sources and not monkey with those, but just build out the different shots that you want to look at. So hey, on Thursday, maybe we should reconfigure. What did I say? Okay, so Tuesday, we're going to do companion stuff with X keys. Because I had a really good experience with it, and I want to see how companion X keys and vMix work together. So on Tuesday, I'm going to save that project. vMix, X keys, plus companion. That will be Tuesday's show. On Thursday's show, we're going to do vMix input and PIP reconfiguration. Ooh, that'll be fun. That's exciting for me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about that content. I feel like that's fun because I'm a nerd, a massive nerd. I do want to throw this one up there. So lots of people checking in today. Had a big crowd. Have had close to 20 people watching at all times, which is stellar for me. So here's the hook: is be sure to head over to BirdDogJohn.tv and subscribe to that channel, because that is where everything I do shows up there. And one of the primary goals, yes, the map is populated correctly this time. It's nice. We still need some South Americans, but other than that, we're in good shape. The point of the show is to have a live element where you guys can interact with me, and I can bring in your chats, bring in your questions. We can kind of spend some time together each week going through whatever it is that's out there. And if there's content that comes up or requests that come up during the show that you think we should cover, then we can create a show about it, which is like where ideas come from, right? We end up doing shows, planned content for future shows based on things that we discover here. So big fan of that. Really like the fact that we are growing this community, and you guys have been great to hang out with. I love just kind of how this is organically worked. So thanks for coming along for the ride, everybody. It's always fun. People texting me. Good stuff. You know who you are. Yes, so we had a really nice populated map. I'll be missing my dot on Tuesday, but I should be back Thursday again. Okay, well, we will hold the fort while you're gone, but you will be missed. You always are, Angus. You're a valued member of this community, and a vocal one, which is always welcome on a live stream show that spends most of its time communicating through the chat. So, yeah, when you're not here one day, you and we all miss that dynamic for sure. Oh, this is sweet. I'll miss you as well. Come back quickly. That's all we can say about that. All right, it is 12:30, and so I should do the things that I get paid to do now. And we'll start doing that. Angus says my 200s will be earning their keep though, which they've been doing a lot of lately. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. 200, man, it's a great camera. It's this camera right here. And it's a really good picture, and you can get them pretty inexpensively right now. So now's the time. If you're in the market or you're going to be, now's the time to do that. All right, I do need to wrap this up because I'd be happy to sit here all day and talk to you guys. But believe it or not, there are things that BirdDog requires me to do, and more so than just sit around and talk about whatever comes into my mind. Reducing the picture-in-picture processing should help CPU performance too. Excellent. I will say this. Since switching to the Stream Dudes machine, I have not had a CPU problem. Fancy that. You buy a product that is specifically built for the software that it runs, and I've had great success with the Stream Dudes machine so far, and we're going to have them on the show to talk about that, and I'm going to talk to them about my alterations as well. But we do need to have a show. I got to get it scheduled. I haven't done that yet, and that's on me. So we're going to get that scheduled, have at least one of them on here, and we can talk about what it is they do and why you should pay attention to what it is they're up to. I've had Tom on this show, Tom Sinclair from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. He's down in Alabama, and he is a similar setup guy, like where he's building PCs to run vMix, and then he's selling those to schools and churches all over the place, all over the country. And that's kind of his wheelhouse. So similar idea. The Stream Dudes machine has been operating great. I've got a GPU in there. It's running Windows 11, and so actually the stats, the feedback stuff isn't accurate. Like it just says CPU is running at 0% and the GPU is running at 100%. So we know that's not right because this would be frozen if that was the case. So the reporting issue in Activity Monitor and in vMix is not working correctly with Windows 11, but I'm sure that they are aware of that and they're working to sort that out. Just a quick little reminder: we did talk about getting timer overlays in your vMix, setup, and today we just for funsies set up one with a millisecond timer, and now I have it on overlay 3. And so, if you were curious, there it is. And according to GoWeb, and I can back this up as well, is if you take a screenshot of this, you should see numbers. And so if you open up like Windows snipping tool or screenshot on your Mac, hopefully if you snap a picture, you should see numbers stopped. So it's actually outputting those numbers frame by frame, which is so stinking cool. Now, if you don't, or if I'm, you're not getting those results, then let me know, because it would be always fun to find that stuff out. But there you go. If you need to put a timer or a clock on your screen and you need the milliseconds, well, there you go. It's possible. And we did that today in today's show. Inside vMix. All good. Well, it's been lovely hanging out. Have a wonderful day. My 7950X is a picture-in-picture processing beast. Boom. There you go, everybody. If you're looking for a specific make and model, there you go. Punch that into the Googles. All right, I'll let you guys go. Have a great rest of the week. We are approaching the weekend quickly, and I hope that this week has been kind to you. And if it hasn't, I hope that the next few days are, because everybody needs a break. Feel free to join us here, because you're definitely welcome, and to hang out with us more often. Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12, right here on BirdDogJohn.tv, which is this one. BirdDogJohn.tv, twice a week. We like to hang out and chat, and that is usually between 11 and 12 Eastern Time, right here in the U.S. And so, yeah, we'll spend an hour twice a week just chatting and catching up and answering any questions and being available for people to ask. And to feed that information into the community. So if I don't know, maybe somebody in the chat does. And if they don't know, we'll find out for you. So that's one of the promises that we like to try and give here on the show. All right. Let's set this up to exit out. I've had a blast with you guys this week. Thank you so much for being so fun and for continually coming back to hang out with me. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. It's really important. And we will see you guys in the next one. Cheers. Thanks so much.
Kids, you tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try.